Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So today's BookList Thursday, which I guess I should mention it's BookList Thursday. This is a series I do with Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand. We come to you every Thursday with some sort of thoughts, books, recommendations, something bookish related. That's what we do on Thursdays. So today is a super fun one. It's approaching the end of the year. A lot of us are working on goals for 2023, thinking about maybe what are some books we want to pick up next. So what we did is we went to our bookish friends and we asked for what are their recommendations. And so today's video is all about reader recommendations. So I have a pile of them that I do own, and there's a significant number of books on this list that I don't own, which is pretty exciting. It's pretty fun. Also a significant number of books on here that I haven't read. But I wanted to make sure that I get them to you guys as well. I was shocked by the amount of books I have that have been recommended. So I went to some different sources for these books. We talk all year long about recommendations within this community. So I went to my book club, I went to my Facebook community, I went to Instagram, I talked to people at work. So I'm trying to dig up some good stuff for you guys. And I think I have the gold mine here. So I will list below. It's going to be a big long description, but I'll have them all listed below. So if you miss it throughout me showing you or talking to you about it, the list is in the description. There are multiple pages of books here, so I'm not gonna be able to get into descriptions of every single one of them. So it's gonna kind of be a rapid fire book recommendation video for you. So be prepared. Here's your warning. Be prepared. Here it all is. But thankfully with YouTube you can rewind. Anyways, here we go. We're gonna start. First book I have for you is A Child Called It by Dave Peltzer. This one, I believe, follows the abuse of a child. It's his memoir based upon how he was treated growing up. Haven't read it yet. We have Verity by Colleen Hoover. Oh, buckle in for that one. I Know This Much Is True by Wally Lamb. This is a thick book. I read this a long time ago, and when I was reading this or putting this list together, I'm like, I should probably pick that up again. But man, that is an epic tale. We have The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna, set in Alaska. Great wintertime read. Holy family drama. We have Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. Talk about haunted house and creepy places. That is for sure fantastic. We have The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery by Gabrielle Zevin. Fantastic book about a curmudgeon old man who is given some challenges, and you kind of wait to see what he does with them. And he owns a bookstore, so it's also fantastic. This one is funny. We have Annie Freeman's Fabulous Traveling Funeral. This is by Chris Radish. I believe that's it. This is funny because my best friend's mom recommended this book to me forever ago, and I did not enjoy it. And so as soon as I put out this request, she of course throws that book out there because she loved it. So it's about Annie Freeman, and it is a group of friends who is experiencing the loss of a dear friend, and it is a traveling funeral that they embark upon. But yeah, Kim highly recommends. We have The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingslover. Again, another book I read when I was probably in my early 20s. I should really pick that one up again. I just feel like I'd have a different perspective on The Poisonwood Bible. We have Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. Fantastic book about Eleanor, who doesn't have the greatest social skills and tends to be a little odd, but fantastic read. We have The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. Haven't read this yet, but I keep hearing really fantastic things about it. We have Remarkably Bright Creatures. This is by Shelby Van Pelt. Again, every time someone talks about this book, they talk about how fabulous this book is. It deals with grief and an octopus's point of view. I don't know how that goes together either, but it does. The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold, another book I read forever ago and I still remember. We have Untamed by Glennon Doyle. This one is a memoir, and it talks a lot about the pressures of motherhood. We have The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich. Also a book I highly recommend that I could not get enough of this year, that really has us face a our own potential biases and preconceived notions. This one centers around how long your life is. Let's see. We have Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica, which again I have loaned out, but a fantastic mystery thriller if you're looking for a fast-paced book. The David Wolfe series by Jeff Carson. We have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. There are 3 books out in this series that pretty much goes through this idea that Avery, our main character, has inherited this vast fortune that she has known nothing about. We have The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Sister relationships, World War II, set in France, deals with being on the front lines as well as being home during the Nazi occupation of France. We have Follow the River by James Alexander Thorne. That book has been on my list for quite some time. I need to get to that one as well. We have Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. We have lots of Kristen Hannas in this pile. But this one explores the friendship between Kate and Tully over the span of a number of decades. The Alchemist by Paul Coelho. If you like a quest book, that is apparently the one for you. We have The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. Please adhere to the trigger warnings. This is an insane ride. Insane ride. The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolio. I believe this is historical fiction, and I own it somewhere. It's somewhere. We have A Painted House by John Grisham, also a book I read quite a while ago. This one takes place, I believe, in the 50s. And we have The Hill People and their sharecropping and kind of the struggles that they go through, and it's told from the perspective of a child and kind of how his childhood is, his experiences, how he interprets things, the prejudice that is prevailing during this time. It's a fantastic read. Definitely not a typical John Grisham. We have The House on the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I finally got myself a copy of this. Thank you, Pango. And this thing, I don't think it's ever been read. And I got this off of Pango for like $6. It was crazy. But I'm beyond excited to pick this one up. I can't hear enough great things about it. I'm losing my spot here. Einstein's Dreams by Alan Lightman. This is a series of short stories that are basically the stories that come from Einstein. We have Winter Garden, another Kristen Hanna book here. This one is World War II historical fiction, but really focuses on the perspective from someone living in Russia and dealing with it from that viewpoint. Talks about a mother-daughter relationship as well. It's such a good book. It's such a good book. Where the Crawdads Sing, of course, by Delia Owens. Can't get enough of this one. Really focusing on our main character, known as the Marsh Girl. Her name's Kaya, kind of the experiences she had growing up, and her fight to survive. The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. Gentleman in Moscow, which again, I don't know where my copy is, but such a fantastic book about a count who is kind of on house arrest in a hotel in Moscow and kind of what he goes through. We have The Book of Lost Names by Kristen Harmel. This is World War II historical fiction and centers around the resistance efforts. We have Cinder by Marissa Meyer, which of course my daughter has, so I have the other ones to show you, but really great YA about a cyborg who kind of has to step up and basically save the world. It's fantastic. We have The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. This is such a great book. I remember not being able to put this book down. I read the illustrated edition of it, so it had the artwork that it was referring to within this book, which I thought made the story even better. Loved The Da Vinci Code. We have The Dream Daughter by Diane Chamberlain. Of course, we have a Diane Chamberlain on this list. This one is fantastic. There's a little bit of time travel involved in this, and so you need to kind of just be aware and be open to that, but Diane Chamberlain takes that piece of the story and does such a fantastic job with it. We have Tell the Wolves I'm Home by Carol Rifka Brunt. This is a story of unlikely friends. We have Before I Let You Go by Kelly Rimmer, another book that's somewhere here, but it's historical fiction. We have Suzanne's Diary for Nicholas by James Patterson. This is a fantastic book about all written within a diary format, and it's a really sweet love story. We have The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This is again another one that a little fantastical element to it that basically answers the question of like, what if one little piece of your life was different? What would your life might have looked like? We have The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. Anything by Abby Jimenez. She's snarky, she's funny, but also there's serious pieces to her stories, and really centers around relationships. Let's see. We have Gone with the Wind. This one's by Margaret Mitchell. This is an edition I have that I have had like forever. I haven't had the guts to pick this up yet. But it's one of those that it's like, someday. This is a someday I'm going to get to this. I really want to read this book. The Night Circus. This one came up a couple of times as recommendations. I'm not so much a fan, but I mean, that's the great thing about books is that one person can love it and one person cannot, and it's totally fine. And I'm still going to recommend it because so many people enjoy that book. We have Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. Jennifer Hillier is just, she's the queen of dark and messed up people and things and places, and I need to get to this book sooner than later. We have My Lobotomy by Howard Dully. This is a memoir about his experience with having a lobotomy. Lonesome Dove, another really great book. I read this not that long ago, but just a very fantastical, classic old Western story. We have A Place Called Home by David Ambrose, another memoir. We have anything basically by William Kent Krieger. There's a couple of them that I have on my shelf. I know this Tenderland comes to mind, but that's been a huge recommendation as well. We have Orphan Train, fantastic historical fiction based on true events of an orphan as they're on this train that starts on the East Coast and heads towards the West, and people adopt these children as it comes by. How You See Her by Linda Howard. We have Horse by Geraldine Brooks. This one covers injustices across American history. We have Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. This is about the Pack Horse Library project that happened, again, based on true events. We have Cross Her Heart by Melinda Lee. This is a thriller, looks fantastic. We have Cathedral of the Sea by Defenso Falcons, I believe. We have The Shell Seekers by Rosamund Pilcher. We have The Time in Between by Maria Duenas. That one sounds fantastic. Historical fiction. I need to get my hands on that book. We have In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. This one is such a great book. Also fantastic on audio if you can get your hands on a copy. We have Mad Money by Jodi Picoult and Jennifer Finley Bolin. I don't know much about this one, but everyone that I have heard from has said I didn't know anything about going into it, but it was a really fantastic read. We have Someone Knows My Name by Lawrence Hill, also historical fiction. Paper Daughters of Chinatown by Heather, I can't read my writing. This is focusing on women heroes in China, and it's all based on true events. We have Westering Women by Sandra Dallas, another historical fiction. And we have The Last Checkmate by Gabrielle Saab. This is also World War II historical fiction for fans of The Crown and of the Queen's Gambit. So it sounds totally right up my alley. Anyways, that's the rapid fire reader recommendation books I have for you. I didn't even count. There's dozens of book recommendations here. Again, some I have, some that are absolutely brand new to me, and I can't wait to find out more about them myself. Again, links are below in the description. I know it's going to be a little long, but at least gets you to where you can find the books yourself that you might be interested in. And please head over to Sarah's channel because she's got another huge list for us as well. I'm sure there'll be a couple repeats, but there's got to be some really new awesome gems in there as well. So head over to Sarah's channel and check out what she has for her reader recommendations for today. Otherwise, if you have more recommendations, list them below, and this will just be one big old book recommendation video that we can just continue to come back to and share with each other. So leave them below. That would be fantastic. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you next time. Bye.